NBC's coverage of the game kicked off the NFL's 100th season. With the new season comes big sales. Joining us is the man behind the merchandise sales for most professional sports, Michael Rubin, executive chairman of Fanatics, partner with the ownership of the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils. And I know you're partial to hoops in terms of this. There's not too many slow periods of any game in the NBA, but NFL, sometimes, you might wish things were going a little bit more exciting, I guess, but it is defenses.
By the way, it was a great matchup yesterday, 100-year anniversary. I mean, it's definitely exciting times for the NFL.
Yeah.
I am a huge basketball fan, as you know, but those are my two favorite sports.
So NFL is second.
NBA and NFL kind of tied for number one.
Are they really?
Yes.
And do you have to be a Patriots fan?
I actually have two teams. I have my hometown Eagles, and I have the Patriots, based on how close I am with the Crafts. And the only thing I hate is when they play each other like they did in the Super Bowl. But you know what? I was Patriots for my team, and I took a lot of abuse for it.
Is it?
As you should.
Yeah. Well,
can you really say?
I always say family first, and the Crafts are family to me. Although I will say I have a lot of friends who play on the Eagles as well. So we're just hoping. The only matchup we don't want is the Eagles playing the Patriots.
Don't walk the line.
I'm walking the line, but
if they play each other, who do you hope for?
The Patriots.
Oh.
I took a lot of abuse a couple years for it, and I'll probably take a lot of abuse again today.
How does your business?
I thought we were here to talk about the business, not getting me more hot water.
How does how do the prospects look for Fanatics this year right now?
I mean, Fanatics having a great year. I just looked this morning, last night during the game against last year's game, we were up 30%. So that's and those are on big numbers. So continue to have big increases in the NFL.
Right. Yeah,
and by the way, since August 1st, we've been up 25% in the NFL.
What does that tell you? Is that you're expanding into new places? People are buying more. The consumer's feeling flush.
I think it tells you. I think it tells you a lot of things. So NFL is our biggest business to start with. So when you see those kind of gains, that's a really positive thing. People always like to talk about media ratings, but you consume media so many different places. Today, for me, I really consume all of my media. For clips, social media. I'm getting it from Instagram. I'm getting it from Twitter. So it's not a fair barometer to just look at a TV rating against a TV rating because, fans consume media in so many different ways. For merchandise, they're consuming it through us, through the NFL shop, through Fanatics, and that's kind of a better comp base. So I think merchandise sales are a better barometer.
In terms of your customer acquisition, though, what tools, given that you're on social media, are working best right now?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you something. It used to only be for us the traffic that came from the NFL and what came from Google. Today, social media has become really meaningful. We're going to see about half of our digital marketing dollars being spent on social media. So Instagram, Facebook, these channels are working really well.
But is there a breakdown? I mean, is Facebook, I should say Facebook, because they own Instagram, that much more powerful than Twitter, for example?
Yes, 100%.
100%.
Without question.
Snap even in the game?
From a dollar spent today, if I can just keep it real, I'd say of our marketing budget, the great majority is digital, and of that is 50% social, which is really all Facebook and Instagram, and then 50% Google.
How does Facebook, Instagram break down?
I'll tell you, it's been primarily Facebook, but Instagram is growing very quickly now. If you would have asked me this question 3 years ago, Facebook was not meaningful for us. Now it's a really meaningful channel, and Instagram has become very meaningful.
Is that that's where the consumers are? That's where people are shopping from?
Yeah, and I think you need to become a very good, we spend $100 million in digital marketing a year at Fanatics, on top of, the hundreds of millions of dollars that we spend with the leagues. And I think Google was the place that we first really tuned to. We have 600 million keywords that we advertise against. We then really got good at how to monetize Facebook, and now we're getting really good at how to monetize Instagram. I think sometimes you can find something like a Snap or Twitter that have huge audiences, but they're not really monetizable yet.
Like we had a guy from Roar on and Buffalo Wild Wings. Now you can have a second screen to bet on the NFL games while you're having your wings. So, I mean, the 30%, I'm trying to come to grips with how this is happening. I mean, social media is one reason for fan engagement, no doubt. But is New Jersey and gambling, that's got to be part of it.
So gambling is definitely great for engagement. If you had to say, people look at just the business of gambling, but I think the single biggest benefit is engagement. I think if you look at your ratings, if you look at just consumption of media in general, I think gaming and gambling is definitely going to help that in a really significant way. There's also going to be great businesses built from gambling. I mean, I've been saying for a decade that kind of once per decade you get a great kind of new industry that develops. I think honestly, we've been that of the last decade. I think gambling and sports will be the industry of the next decade, and I think there'll be tens of billions of dollars made just from the gambling business, separating the much bigger benefit, which is the engagement.
And you're still beating the bushes for things for you to invest in, I'm sure, in that arena. Are you not?
Yeah. So, I mean, for us, we're 100% for. I mean, Fanatics is going to be over, Fanatics was $250 million in revenue when we bought it back from eBay in 2011. It's going to be over $3 billion next year.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And so, and we feel like we're just getting started. I mean, we really believe that Fanatics can be a $10 billion business in licensed sports over the next decade. And the reason is because of the verticality that we have, the ability to get the fan what they want. I mean, just look yesterday. I looked at this. I was amazed. 85% of our business last night was on mobile for Green Bay Packers fans. Why? Because they're not people in Green Bay.
Right.
They're people from around the country, around the world, consuming this merchandise. So 85% from a mobile perspective. That's incredible.
I look back. I glanced yesterday. I was going through Amazon, just seeing how many orders I have online. My peak year was
300 this year?
344 a couple of years ago.
Good guess, somebody.
And by the way, I have my own account. My husband has his. So that doesn't tell you how much is coming through. I went back a few years earlier, 2011, I think I had 9. So,
yeah.
I mean, if that tells you what I'm doing, and I'm one of the older people. What are younger people doing?
Yeah, look, online shopping in general is doing great. You're still having, we've had double-digit gains every year since, I started in 1999. So one of the reasons when you say, why is the NFL doing great? One, e-commerce is doing great. Number two, I think the league's really strong. And in general, I think, look, we're seeing a strong economy for our business, and we're seeing that across all of our consumer businesses. We see that with Rue La La and Gilt. We see that with ShopRunner. So I think we're seeing pretty good strength overall.
Do you see any pockets of the country where there's a little more weakness than others, or places where there's a lot more strength than others?
For us, because we're growing so much.
I just mean geographically.
Yeah. But for us, because we're growing so much, I'm the person who always says, don't tell me about greater economic facts. Like, you know what? If we're going to go from $2.5 billion to $3.2 billion next year, I just want to hear about how we're going to grow more, how we're going to execute better, how we're going to deliver for our fans. So I ask very little questions about things.
Whammies.
I don't want to hear about weather. I don't want to hear about macroeconomic issues that people can make excuses by.